fake stuff and said a lot of stuff that, a person that you claim that you cool with, you would never say. So that was my big issue with him. I just know, character take you a long way. And I just don't agree with the character, actions that he took.
The problem is Terence Crawford now is really only going to want to fight for big money, and there's only certain fights that can generate that kind of money.
Terence Crawford reacted strongly after sparring footage with Floyd Mayweather was leaked, expressing his displeasure with Floyd's actions. Crawford made it clear that he expected more respect from someone who claims to be on good terms with him. He voiced his frustration that private moments from training were made public and emphasized that such a breach should not come from a fellow champion.
I had disliked a lot of things that he was saying, and how he was acting, being that, me, I'm a real individual. I just felt like, we was all cool at one point in time. And, when the Errol Spence fight was getting mentioned and talked about and, signed, I just felt like he just did a lot of fake stuff and said a lot of stuff that, a person that you claim that you cool with, you would never say. So that was my big issue with him. I just know, character take you a long way. And I just don't agree with the character, actions that he took.
Eddie Hearn's suggestion that Terence Crawford consider retirement highlights the divide within the boxing community over his next steps. On one hand, Hearn admires that Crawford's legacy is already secure. He has conquered multiple divisions, dominated top-tier opponents, and silenced debates about his place among the sport's all-time greats. Retiring at this peak would preserve his reputation indefinitely, much like other legendary champions. On the other hand, Hearn recognizes the financial incentives in today's boxing landscape. With Saudi investment and cross-promotional spectacles creating record-breaking purses, Crawford could earn enormous sums even in fights that don't necessarily enhance his legacy. The lure of multi-million-dollar events may tempt him, and Hearn understands the delicate balance between maintaining a legacy and seizing financial opportunities better than most promoters.
Sorry?
Should Crawford retire?
Do you know what? Someone said the other day, and it's very true, because I actually said it about Usyk. We've got a real tendency, haven't we, to kind of try and retire people off. Do you know what I mean? Like I said with Usyk, I think now he should retire. And everyone's like, why do you want him to retire? It's like, I just think it's a great way to go out. I actually also think that Crawford could move down and win a world title at 160. And that would make him, what, 6 division champ? 5, 35, 40, 47, 54, 6 division champion. But the problem is Terence Crawford now is really only going to want to fight for big money. And there's only certain fights that can generate that kind of money. So Shakur, who was obviously very close to him, seemed to say, so maybe that's it.
Floyd Schofield believes that Terence Crawford should consider stepping away while he's at the top. In Schofield's view, Crawford has already achieved everything that defines greatness in boxing, reaching pound-for-pound supremacy, winning championships across multiple divisions, and proving himself against the elite of his era. Schofield isn't questioning Crawford's skill or legacy, but he warns that continuing could introduce unnecessary risk. If Crawford does fight again, Schofield suggests it should be against hungry, up-and-coming contenders like Virgil Ortiz or Frank Martin, reflecting the next generation testing whether he can still handle the intensity of emerging talent. Despite this, Schofield's perspective is one of respect. He acknowledges that Crawford has nothing left to prove and that retiring now would preserve a flawless record. For Schofield, Crawford's legacy is already secure and best maintained at its peak.
So, I feel like Crawford, he could retire if he wants. I feel like if he does get another fight, I would love to see him in there with Virgil or Gerard. I feel like those are both great fights, but those are fights we just got to see. We just got to see those fights before. I feel like those are the only 2 fights I would entertain.
Not a rematch, maybe a rematch with Crawford and Canelo?
I feel like it wasn't close enough.
Really?
If it was close, maybe, but it just was like, it wasn't close.
This topic continues to spark lively debates among boxing fans. The idea of a prime Floyd Mayweather facing a prime Terence Crawford dominates online discussions, as both exemplify complete mastery in their respective eras. Floyd's defensive brilliance and unmatched ring IQ made him nearly untouchable, while Crawford's adaptability and finishing instincts have allowed him to dominate every opponent he faces. The reality, however, is different. Mayweather is no longer in his prime and doesn't possess the reflexes or stamina he once had. A modern-day matchup would be more of a spectacle than a true test of skill. That's why analysts emphasize the generational perspective. The dream of their primes colliding is likely to remain just that, a dream.
So yeah, everybody, so this is a good question that the ring put out. So Terence Crawford versus Floyd Mayweather, a fantasy fight that will never happen. Now, this is a really good question. Who will win between these two? Me personally, if this was old Floyd Mayweather, I'm going to say pretty boy Floyd, I'm talking about like the younger version of Floyd Mayweather, Floyd Mayweather wins. You're talking probably prime Floyd Mayweather versus prime Terence Crawford. You could see Floyd Mayweather beating Terence Crawford, but you're talking about money Floyd versus Terence Crawford. I see Terence Crawford stopping him in the later rounds due to Floyd Mayweather's passive style and Philly shell. I believe he'll melt. Terence Crawford would just break him, I think. People forget what Manny Pacquiao was able to do on Floyd Mayweather, have success with him certain parts of the fight, and people just need to see, Floyd Mayweather's, I would say, fights, later down the years. I think Crawford would just be able to break that defense. I don't know. The thing is about Terence Crawford, he has a very, very awkward style, very awkward foot movement and footwork. This is the thing. A lot of people were thinking, no, nobody beats Floyd. Or if you try to compare somebody else, no, this man will beat Floyd. Floyd would beat everybody. I don't think it's a case of Terence Crawford, everybody. I think Terence Crawford would have been the man to actually beat Floyd. Honestly, for what he did to Canelo Alvarez, he beat a 168 Canelo Alvarez. 168 Canelo Alvarez.
Analysts emphasize that while statistics and accolades are important, they don't always determine who is greater in a head-to-head matchup. Floyd Mayweather's 50-0 record and ability to remain undefeated across generations is unparalleled, while Crawford has claimed undisputed titles in multiple divisions, a feat Floyd never achieved. The comparison is complicated because achievements in different eras can't be directly measured against each other. Floyd's career is marked by global superstars and massive pay-per-view events, whereas Crawford's legacy is built on decisive, dominant victories. Analysts argue that having a more impressive record on paper doesn't automatically make one the better fighter in the ring. Context, style, and timing all play a crucial role.
Floyd Mayweather versus Terence Crawford is the topic of this video, and someone posted this: number of world champion fighters beaten, Floyd with 23, Terence with only 11. But my response to this is, being more accomplished does not mean you're better than someone. By example, Canelo has 18 former world champions beaten, Terence has 11. So you could argue that Canelo's more accomplished. Meanwhile, Terence just whooped him over the course of 12 rounds over the weekend. We all saw it. Plus, more accomplished fighters lose to lesser accomplished fighters all the time, so that's a bad argument. Let's talk skill for skill. Terence Crawford has knockout power in both hands. He can switch stances. He's not a stationary target. He has good footwork. He knows how to counterpunch. He knows how to fight on the outside and on the inside. He can make it dirty. He knows how to box and he knows how to fight. There's a difference. Guys like Shakur Stevenson, for example, they know how to box. When it comes to actually getting down and dirty, the jury is still out on one Shakur Stevenson, just by example. Terence Crawford, I think, if you look at the names on Floyd's list here, Manny Pacquiao, Canelo, Marcos Maidana, Cotto, and the list goes on and on, I think Terence Crawford has a shot at beating all those guys. I don't think anybody on that list jumps off the page and goes, oh my God, I think he smokes Terence Crawford. You can't say that about anybody on any of these guys' lists and names here. So yeah, that's my take on this, man. Maybe the only guy is Gennady Golovkin. I could see Gennady Golovkin giving Terence a really hard fight, especially at that weight. But remember, Canelo lost to Gennady. Gennady shouldn't even be on this list. He's only on the list because the judges are in Canelo's back pocket. So, that's a whole nother argument. But yeah, that's my take on this, guys. skill for skill, Terence Crawford might be one of the best of all time. And that's okay. Like, it's okay to accept that, guys. It's fine. Let me know what you think in the comments below, whether you agree or disagree. It doesn't matter. Just join the discussion, subscribe for more, and leave a like if you enjoyed the time spent. Thank you. You are all appreciated.
Zab Judah's perspective carries weight because he has faced Mayweather and understands the demands of competing at the sport's highest level. His acknowledgement of Crawford as the standout of this era highlights how each generation produces its own dominant figure. Judah also referenced Canelo Alvarez's comments suggesting that Crawford might even surpass Floyd, a statement that fueled endless debates. For Judah, Crawford's ability to dominate elite opponents across multiple divisions demonstrates his completeness as a fighter. Unlike many who struggle when moving up in weight, Crawford has maintained his power, timing, and composure in every class. Judah's endorsement serves as a symbolic passing of the torch, recognizing that while Floyd ruled his era, Crawford now occupies the pinnacle of the sport.
The punch can knock him out, you know what I'm saying? The size will be a factor. None of that was nothing.
How did you score it?
Huh?
How did you score the fight?
I think I gave Canelo about 3 rounds. About
Really?
3 rounds. Yeah, about 3
Yeah.
rounds. How did you score? You just score about sound about fair?
What's that?
Sounds about right?
I had it closer, but there's loads of different scores.
Okay. 2 rounds.
You gave him 2 rounds.
I had 2 rounds. Yeah, he ain't do anything. I gave him a possible 3 rounds. So if I play space, we gave him 2 in a possible.
Where did you put him in the all-time list? 5-weight world champion,
Who?
3-weight undisputed, Terence Crawford.
Who?
Terence Crawford.
He's number 1 right now. He's number 1. This is his generation. This is his timeline. He is the king right now.
Just seen in the press conference, Canelo said that Crawford's better than Mayweather. What did you think?
He's not lying. He fought him. He should know. How can somebody tell somebody that fought both of these guys, he know.
Yeah.
If anybody would know, Canelo would know.
What do you think's next for both?
I don't know.
Too early?
I don't know.
You like to see a rematch?
Not a rematch. Rematches always sound good. But in a rematch, it'll be the same thing.
Yeah. Cool.
Matter of fact, in a rematch, I'm predicting stoppage earlier.
Yeah.
I
think
so too. Yeah, I think so.
Sab,
My boys are dogs. Trust me.
thank you.
People Ozan push-ups. I was watching Mill City.
That's right.
They Ozan push-ups.
Crawford noted that Canelo's perspective holds more weight than most fans or analysts because he has first-hand experience with both styles. At the same time, Crawford stressed that the circumstances were very different. Floyd faced Canelo when he was young, inexperienced, and still developing, whereas Crawford fought him as a seasoned champion at super middleweight. This distinction is key, highlighting how timing can shape outcomes in boxing. For Crawford, defeating a mature, fully developed Canelo carries a different significance than Floyd's encounter with a younger, raw version. By emphasizing this, Crawford both defends his victory and acknowledges the historical context of Mayweather's career.
He was in the ring with both of us, so a lot of people, they can say what they want, but he's actually been in the ring with both of us. One where he felt like he was at the best, and another where he felt like he was at a disadvantage when he had a rehydration clause and he was younger. So, I don't know, I don't go off of that. Floyd is the best fighter, in his era, and I feel like I'm the best fighter in my era.
One thing that I thought was really interesting about the fight, I always love watching you switch stances as effortlessly as you do. You didn't do that a lot in this fight. You didn't have to. Were you expecting not to have to?
No, I felt like I could have, but why do something when something else is working?
Easy answer.
Jeff Mayweather defended Floyd by emphasizing the importance of context when comparing careers. By the time Floyd faced Canelo, he was past his physical prime, relying more on experience, timing, and reflexes than on raw speed or explosiveness. Despite this, Floyd successfully neutralized a dangerous young opponent, a feat Jeff insists should not be overlooked. He argues that comparing Floyd's version of Canelo with Crawford's is unfair, as the two fights occurred at entirely different points in the careers of both fighters. Jeff's remarks underline how boxing history is often debated without fully accounting for the circumstances surrounding each matchup.
Well, also, if we remember, Canelo that time was a razor-thin decision. Floyd won, majority decision. C.J. Ross had it with what a lot of people had as a draw, and then the other two judges scored it for Floyd, of course.
Yeah, nobody had it.
And that was a
a
Floyd at the top of his game with a very green Canelo with very little experience, and he still took him, into deep waters. So
what was Canelo? What, 20-something? 20 what? 23, 25?
Yeah, he was. Very, very young in the game, obviously.
Very young. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost.
Yeah, but
man, that was 30-something years old, 36.
But Floyd was clearly at the top of his career, and Canelo had fought a lot of people. But
how you at the top of your career in your prime? You in your prime? You ain't in your prime when you're at 36. That's not your prime.
Did he lose? I mean,
your prime is in your 20s.
It's different for different people.
Yeah, okay. Well, so, and that's why Canelo is saying what he's saying.
Want
to make himself look like he did something great.
Buddy McGirt's analysis highlighted Crawford's exceptional performance. He noted how Crawford controlled every element of the fight, managing pace, distance, and exchanges from start to finish. Unlike many of Canelo's previous opponents, Crawford never fell into traps or allowed Canelo to dictate the tempo. McGirt compared the strategic mastery to Floyd Mayweather's ability to outthink opponents, but he emphasized that Crawford brought his own approach through aggression and finishing instincts. For McGirt, the victory was more than just a win. It was a statement that Crawford deserves a place among the sport's greatest technicians.
Yes.
Like, what fight were they watching?
Right.
I mean, it's. I don't know, man. I don't know what some of these guys be doing in this game, man. Some people, in situations like that, they should ask them, listen, just turn in your license, bro. Because there's no way in hell the fight was that close.
Right.
I mean, come on, man. It's just, it's not fair. It's not fair. You get a guy like Terence got here and dominate from beginning to end, and then you find out he needed the last 2 rounds to win. That's scary, man.
It is, and you see how you just mentioned scary. Now, a lot of people are saying, buddy, that type of beating, he's not going to want a rematch. But looking at those scorecards and knowing that, hey, you wasn't too far behind, even though, he did mention that, he's better than Mayweather. But, I mean, what's your thoughts? Do you feel like that was such a beating that Canelo wouldn't want a rematch?
No, I think that, in all honesty, personally, I think that Canelo's at that stage in his career right now, that it's a rematch he don't need. He don't need it. You know what I mean? What we saw that night, that's the stage Canelo's at right now. He's fought everybody, he's did everything, but, he passed the torch to the right guy. He passed the torch to the right guy. He lost it to Terence fair and square, and he passed the torch. So if you're gonna have another fight, cool, but you don't need to. You have nothing. He has nothing to prove. He fought Terence and nobody else would.
The analyst highlighted that Mayweather's charisma and ability to present himself as both hero and villain made him a global phenomenon. His undefeated streak carried enormous significance, as fans tuned in either to witness his brilliance or to see him falter. Crawford, by contrast, has never been a major pay-per-view draw. However, analysts argue that this doesn't diminish his skill in the ring. Some even suggest that Crawford's natural talent, his ability to switch stances, control distance, and finish fights decisively, could surpass Floyd's. Where Mayweather relied on defense and caution, Crawford is both calculated and ruthless, making him extremely difficult to beat while also delivering a more dynamic spectacle.